Welcome to you all. Welcome to Wheel of Wisdom, to the space where you're going to receive the message that you need to hear most. And so today we are going to skip the meditation part that we usually do because I'm not feeling well. I am coming down with a cold. So I'm sure that it would not be a pleasant experience for either one of us. So that's why we are skipping the meditation for today. And we're going to directly jump on to our second part, which is spinning the wheel, which is here. So, spinning this wheel of wisdom so that we can receive a message from the universe, any guidance, any words of support, whatever it is that we need most. Caitlin says, "Oh, healing vibes to you. Yes, rest. Good idea. Thank you for hanging with us." You guys give me a lot of beautiful energy, so I didn't want to miss out unless it is absolutely necessary. And thank you for your healing energy, Caitlin. Thank you. So, so about the wheel. So, before we spin the wheel and the universe, God, divine spirit chooses a book for us, I invite you to, you know, hold this beautiful wish or prayer that may everyone present in the space receives a message that they need to hear most, a guidance that is for their highest good. And holding that prayer, wish, or if there is something specific you need guidance on, then holding that in your awareness as we spin the wheel. Okay, interesting. So the book that came up is Wherever You Go, There You Are by John Kabat-Zinn. And this was the exact quote, I guess, 3 or 4 days ago on Insight Timer. And we did a reading on that as well. So let's see what is another beautiful piece of reminder or message that wants to come out from this book, which is wherever you go, there you are. Oh, you journaled on that yesterday. Wonderful, Caitlin. I am so happy for the alignment. And here I am, exactly. Ah, love that magic. Needed that spark of magic in the space. Okay, so let me open the book and see what wants to come through. Mm. Okay, so I invite you guys to pick a number between 20 to 135. And again, there is no rush. Take your time and share the number that comes to you in the comments. And I will pick a number based on my intuition randomly. So, yeah, choose a number between 20 to 135 to receive a message that you need to hear right now. Caitlin says 111. I saw it. I don't know how many times yesterday. Okay, then let us reveal the the beautiful piece of wisdom that was, that wanted to come through. Okay, thank you, Caitlin, for sharing that number. Other people, if you guys also feel called to share a number between 20 to 135, you can do that. Okay, it is quiet. Seems like we really need to hear the message that wants to come from page number 111. So let's go with that page. Mm. So the author says the idea that the soul will join with the ecstatic just because the body is rotten, that is all fantasy. What is found now is found then. So, this is a quote by Kabir. Thank you, Manu, for sharing a number. Yeah, let me, read it and then we will consider do we want to go with that number or you can choose for the next reading. So the author says if we hope to change our karma, it means we have to stop making those things happen that cloud our mind and body and color every action of ours. It doesn't mean doing good deeds, it means knowing who you are and that you are not your karma. What it may be at whatever it may be at this moment. It means aligning yourself with the way things actually are. It means seeing clearly where to start. Why not with your own mind? After all, it is the instrument through which all your thoughts and feelings, impulses and perceptions are translated into actions in the world. When you stop outward activity for some time and practice being still right here in that moment with that decision to sit, you are already breaking the flow of old karma and creating an entirely new and healthier karma. Herein lies the root of change, the turning point of a life. So, when I was reading the last line, which was about, you know, sitting still for a while, and how the author says that when we do that, we break our old karma and create new and healthy karma. I just, this word popped into my head to replace karma with like a neural connection to explain it more logically, that when we do something different, which is more healthy for us, like this, sitting still, learning to sit still, because we have already this, we already have a very strengthened pathway around distraction because we do that every day, and that's how any particular neural pathway gets strengthened in our brain. The more we repeat it, the more strong it becomes. So we have already have this very old, very strong pathway, and the way to um change that karma or create new karma is to first, is to first like sit still because it is dealing with thought aspect, which is actually responsible for our actions later on. Because there is this link between our thoughts, meaning what we think affect the way we feel, and how we feel affect the way we act in any situation. So our thoughts, directly influence our behavior. So, in order to deal with this section, which the author recommended of your thoughts, A beautiful practice is to learn to be, to learn to sit still for a while, whatever that means for you. And when you do that, what happens is that old karma dissolves, meaning when you don't use a particular pathway very often, you know, it starts to get weakened. And but we actually have a lot of things that we get distracted with, so our focus is not to do that. Our focus is each time we sit still, we are cultivating a new or healthy karma or a new neural pathway in our brain, that we can do that. This is the practice that we do each time, and with that, this new neural pathway gets strengthened each time we do it, and hence we are cultivating the skill which is going to impact our life by impacting our thoughts, by impacting our feelings, by impacting our behavior, and hence the result that we get in our life. So, this simple thing can impact your whole life in that manner, and um, yeah, and create positive change. And before I move on to the comments, one more thing clicked for me was to not think of you and karma being one, or to use a more scientific language, to think of your behaviors and you as a person being one, meaning that you are not solely defined by your behavior, because because you maybe did something wrong once, or twice maybe, and now you consider yourself as a bad person. And when you do that, no matter how bad that thing was, when we do that, what happens is we are not able to change to do a different behavior from that point once we label ourselves as that. And hence um it decrease our chances of changing. It decrease our likelihood of doing something different from what we have done, because now that we have associated that label with ourselves, our very whole system is going to fight any other behavior that is not matching our identity. So that is, the other thing that resonated was to not label yourself based on the behavior that you did. Yeah, so those are the things that came up for me from that paragraph. And let's see, Caitlin, whose number we chose. So she says, I started to fuss and get a teeny bit distracted when that line came through, be still. I was like, okay, spirit. Yeah, yeah, listening up. Okay, seems like that message was directly for you in that moment and maybe in your day. I know you actually attend another teacher's live on Insight Timer, Nicole. So she does these lives where people sit for 20 minutes, and they meditate, they sit still, they sit in silence. So maybe the spirit is asking you to attend more of these, or maybe sit still on your own. Whatever works for you, Caitlin. And for all of us, whoever are in this space, because this message is for everyone present here. Otherwise, you won't be here listening to this. So, yeah, let it, keep your heart open to it. Caitlin says the CBT triangle, my favorite. It was my gateway to mindfulness. For me too. For me too. um, you know, what I learned from that and how it was a gateway for me was to learn that my thoughts are not the reality, meaning I need to learn to see them, to question them, instead of believing every single thought that pops up in my head. And that is how CBT helped me. And then, once you learn that, then you have a lot of other approaches that you can do, because the focus in long term should not be about controlling our thoughts. Initially, it might help to to actually do these approaches of controlling our thoughts, of changing them, but you cannot change every single thought. So that is why you need to move out to other approaches. But CBT is a wonderful, beautiful gateway to learn that our thoughts are not the ultimate reality. and I need to take them with a pinch of salt if I use that thing right. That saying right. Yeah, so Caitlin says, so helpful being able to break things down into segments and being able to see and analyze the activators and then change the necessary things or integrate the new things. Wonderful. Yeah, you have, shared a lot of things that we do in that approach. And I'm glad that that approach resonated with you and it helped you a lot. And it is one of my favorite approaches. I have, yeah, I think I have around 3 courses on that approach itself. Yeah, so on that note, in case you don't know about it, or if you want to, have a different kind of perspective about it, like, practice it, um, then let me share here if you're curious about it. So this course is around learning to deal with your thoughts, your negative thoughts, using that approach of CBT. Again, this is not therapy. It is just I've just shared everything that I've learned about it from my studies and everything. I'm a psychologist from background, like my education background. So I've tried to take in everything and put this into my courses. And this was my very first course here on Insight Timer too. So I hope that it helps you. Caitlin says, I did kind of copy out this morning. I fiddled on the phone. So yes, stillness today. Gotta get it in. Yeah, so Caitlin's intention for today is to invite in more stillness. Beautiful. ah. I was actually wondering that, should we do, because I cannot guide a meditation today, my throat will hurt a lot. So I was thinking, should we do a stillness practice for maybe 5 minutes or not? And then this message came up. So I'm interested. Would you guys like to do, would you guys like to sit still for 5 minutes or for 2 minutes? Whatever you guys think, is possible for you, or should we move on to the next reading? So you guys can vote in the comments, um, like sitting still or next reading, to let me know what you guys want, and we can do that. Okay, so Caitlin would like us to sit still, and Kathleen, yes, T. Um, Kathleen, do you also vote for sitting? Okay, I would. Okay, okay, thank you for sharing that. So, okay, let me take a sip of water and then we will begin. That's perfectly all right, Kathleen. I know a lot of people join here in the morning, so our eyes are not perfectly fine. You guys can also, make any adjustments if you want, and I will let you know when we will begin. Okay, also let me type a message here in case anyone join. So let's, okay, let me count down. Okay, so let's start. 1, 2, 3. Let's sit still. You're at great. And now, if you guys would like to share anything about, how it felt like, you can share that. Caitlin says that was very grounding for me. Yeah, for me too. I was able to, give my body a little bit of rest for those 2 minutes, and it was nice. Kathleen says that felt good. Thank you. Yeah, for me too, Kathleen. I'm glad. Nakasha says Grand Rising. Grand Rising, Nakasha. Welcome here. I'm glad that that reading came up about being still and that we get to practice it. And maybe I am assuming that for the next 2 or 3 lives, I might not be able to guide a meditation because my cold lasts long. So, yeah, so maybe we would like sit still for 5 minutes or something and we can start our lives like that. I think that would be a good idea. And I hope that you would also, you know, find it helpful. And now let us move on to our next reading. But first, hydration. It's interesting. I get a lot of hearts when I'm drinking water. I guess, people like the idea to like witness self-care. And Gaten says, yes, adapting the practice to suit your needs sounds good. I'm glad that you're on board. Yeah, and that's what we need to do because our body deserves that care and we also. So, my dear ones, let us now move to the next reading for today. So, again, if you have anything specific that you need guidance on, bring that to your awareness. And if there is nothing specific, then simply hold this intention to be open to receiving the message that is for your highest good. So, holding that in your mind as we spin the wheel. Okay, so the name of the book that came for all of us is The Mindfulness Solution: Everyday Practices for Everyday Problems by Ronald D. Siegel. So let us see what is the mindful solution to your problems. Give me a second to open the book. So, this is our book. And give me a second to choose some numbers so that we can play a game. So, my dear ones, I invite you guys to pick a number between 19 to 280. Again, no rush, take your time. I will pick a number randomly based on my intuition, okay? Thank you, Rita, AC, Kathleen, Caitlin. Anyone else who would like to share a number? Okay. Nakisha and Kathleen. We got the same number from two of the beautiful souls here. Okay. Okay, I hear you, Margaret. Let's go with 177 then. If three people are feeling called to that number, then who am I to decide? Oh, okay. And the why I got surprised was my favorite poem came up on this page. Okay. So the name of the poem is The Guest House, and the poem is by Rumi. Caitlin says a poem, nice. I'm sure, yeah, a lot of people might have heard of it. And it has like everything in packed in these words. Okay, yeah, Kathleen says I know it as well, and Caitlin also knows it. So maybe it is a reminder. So when I'm reading this poem, maybe think how it applies to your life, because maybe the universe wants wants us to receive this reminder again. So, so the author says, in Tongling and the other practices, the idea is to welcome and make friends with all emotions, including the painful ones. A classic poem from the 30th century Persian poet Rumi captures the attitude beautifully. The guest house. This being human is a guest house. Every morning, a new arrival, a joy, a depression, a meanness. Some momentary awareness comes as an unexpected visitor. Welcome and entertain them all, even if they are a crowd of sorrows who violently sweeps our house, who violently sweep our house empty of its furniture. Still, treat each guest honorably. He may be clearing you out for some new delight. The dark thought, the shame, the malice. Meet them at the door laughing and invite them in. Be grateful for whoever comes, because each has been sent as a guide from beyond. Again, be grateful for whoever comes, because each has been sent as a guide from beyond. So there is also a little, you know, uh, explanation or what the author talks about. So, as we are able to welcome emotions, including negative ones, everything becomes workable. The very act of turning our attention towards the difficult experiences gives us a sense that we will be able to deal with them. We shift from striving to feel good to trying to awaken to whatever we are actually feeling in the moment. Ironically, it can be a real relief to be liberated from the tyranny of needing to be in a good mood. So I guess this paragraph is inviting us, this poem is inviting us to accept what is happening, especially inside you, because that's where we experience life, right? So to accept it, to welcome it with an open heart instead of, closing the door in the face of difficult emotions, we open our heart. And when we do that, we see the immense capacity of our heart to hold all of these emotions that we feared, that we thought that we wouldn't be able to handle. So when we open our heart to these emotions, we notice that we can handle them. We have the space to let them be. And you know what the explanation reminded me was this, that in life, just in life, in our inner world too, we just want things to be different than what it is right now. So it can be with your life overall that whatever is happening right now is not okay. And I will be okay once things are different. And similarly, with our internal world, we are like, no, I want this feeling to be different. I want to feel good. I want to feel happy and joy and peace and love and all of those emotions. And yeah, feel them when they come. But it adds on to our suffering when we are not feeling them, that I really want it to be this way, especially for example with depression, with grief, with all of those different things, at those times when we have been feeling sad or those negative emotions for a long time, then it becomes like an additional layer of suffering, that why don't I feel anything different, that why can't I feel this way? I really want to feel this way. So the author is reminding us to open our doors to whatever is present right now. And when you do that, you learn about your own capacity, and you also are, more open. That door stays open when those beautiful, good feelings comes as well, and you're able to take in them fully and, let them fill your heart up. So, yeah, that is what came up for me from that reading. And let's see what came up for you guys. Uh, okay, Kathleen says that's profound. I'm glad it resonated with you, Kathleen. And Jamal says, welcome, Jamal. Guys, he is another wonderful teacher on Insight Timer. So if you guys don't know him and Caitlin, you guys can check both of these out. They are so, you know, their work is so lovely. Okay, so yeah, Jamal says, I love that. Thank you. This message was needed this morning. I am glad that It reached you at the right moment, Jamal. Vineet says, good morning, Vineet. Yes, I'm struggling with what you have described. Then I'm glad that, the right message came up for you for exactly how you're feeling or what you're struggling with, Vineet. Thank you for sharing that and a lot of, strength to you. Okay. So let us move on to our next reading now. Um, Let me take out our wheel of wisdom. And for those who have just joined us, I invite you to, either hold in your awareness anything specific that you need guidance on, or simply be open to receive a message that is going to serve your highest good. So, holding either of those things in your awareness as we spin the wheel. Okay, that was the previous one. Yeah, as we spin the wheel. Okay, so the book that came up is Ask and It Is Given. A beautiful message from the universe. Ask and It Is Given by Esther and Jerry Hicks. So let's see what this beautiful book wants to deliver us. Okay, Kathleen likes this book. Uh huh. Yeah, I think I read it when I was in college. Yeah, and okay, let's see. Give me a second to open the book and choose some numbers for us. And until then, if you guys, have enjoyed this live, and if you guys want to support my work, you guys can make a small donation. You guys can make a contribution to help me keep this going or to, allow me to create more resources. I have like a lot of free meditations lined up, over 100. I just need to make the time to edit them and to launch them on Insight Timer. But yeah, but know that everyone who has contributed so far, every single donation has gone towards, creating something beautiful into this world. Okay, and if you guys don't feel called to, then there is no pressure at all, you know. Okay, let's see. Before I pick a number, Eve has dropped in and she says, good morning, Anisha, and all the beautiful beings here. I'm listening as I'm getting ready for work. I love this one. Ask and it shall be given. Oh, thank you, Eve, for making me, us, and the space a part of your morning routine. And let's see, let us now see what is the message that wants to come through this beautiful, beautiful book. Okay, so choosing the numbers. Okay, so I invite you guys to pick a number between 12 to 112. Here you go. Again, no rush, take your time. I will pick a number intuitively based on, randomly based on my intuition. So, yeah. Okay, thank you, AC, Margaret, Vineet. Anyone else who would like to share a number? Thank you, Jamal. Okay, so let's go with these numbers that are here. Thank you, Patrick. Okay. So you just commented on time, Patrick, because yours number is the one that I'm feeling called to. So let's see what is on page number 96. Okay, give me a second to find the start of this. Okay, so the author says you are living in a wonderful physical time. You are living in a highly technological society where you have access to stimulation of thought from all around your world. You benefit from all this, for it provides you an opportunity for much growth, but you also experience some disadvantages from the stimulation of thought. And the disadvantage comes forth in the form of confusion. For while your ability to focus upon a more narrow subject brings forth clarity, your ability to focus upon many things at once brings confusion. So, focusing on one thing at a time is the message that we're getting. You are receptive beings. Your thought processes are very fast, and as you are considered any one subject, you have the ability by the power of the law of attraction, to bring forth more and more clarity upon that subject until you can accomplish anything regarding it. But because of the availability of so much stimulation of thought, very few of you remain focused upon anything long enough to take it forward very far. Most of you are so distracted by so much thought that you do not have an opportunity to develop any one thought to any great degree. You know what is coming up for me, especially from the last line, was another thing that I read in a book, which was Conversations with God by Neil Donald Walsh. And in that, the author asked God um, that why am I not able to manifest this in my life? Have thought about it, and I really want it. So the God says that there are a lot of things that you're focused on. So like your focus is scattered on a lot of different things, or you bring in a lot many demands at once, a lot many desires at once, and you want them all to be, fulfilled. And the thing is that, the imagery that is popping up in my head is that of a magnifying glass, that the power comes when we focus really at we have a very narrow focus. So if we want a desire to be manifested, then working with just one desire for a few months rather than bringing all of this in different from different areas of your life. And it is not just it just doesn't apply to manifestation alone. It applies to your any kind of like behavioral change as well. If we bring the science, if we bring the psychology as well, you should not start with a lot of different things, a lot of different habits, a lot of different goals, at once. It's okay to become aware of all of them at once, but to work with them, just choose one thing to work with, to focus on, to hold your intention on, instead of bringing a lot of different things, because that's what happens on, especially on New Year, when we take a look at our life, and we are like really dissatisfied, and we are like, okay, I'm going to change my life all at once. I promise myself this time I'm going to stick with all of these habits. I need to eat more healthy. I need to exercise. I need to work upon, building my own business. I need to go out more and, be more social, find a partner. So we are like all this scattered energy. And what it does it is that it overwhelms our system. It overwhelms our brain, it overwhelms our nervous system. And when that happens, it shuts down the logical part, the planning part. It shuts down, and your nervous system sees it as a threat. Sorry, excuse me. Yeah, so yeah, so logically also, scientifically also, based on all the research also, doing a lot of different things at once would not lead to a result, would also decrease your chances of sticking with it. So the message is to focus on one thing, to focus on one thought, one desire that you're trying to manifest, to focus on one action, one habit, try to focus on or do one thing at a time in your day. I know there are a lot of responsibility, a lot of different things that you need to do, but the truth is that no one can actually multitask. We can only do one thing at a time, because what happens when we are doing multiple things as well is that our brain switches very quickly from this thing to this thing to this thing, and that is not efficient. It actually leads to, I think, 40% more mistakes according to research, and a lot of different other things as well. So do not multitask, focus on one thing at a time, one desire at a time, and be with it. Focus on it, put your efforts and energy into it for some while, do it for 90 days and then switch to the next thing. So yeah, that is the message. And okay, it is interesting because I actually, as I told you guys before, some of you who were there before, who are regular here, that I was actually creating a guide on this whole thing to actually bring like a lasting change in your life. And I just completed it, you know, I think day before yesterday. I haven't put it out there yet, but it feels like okay, maybe I need to. And you guys can like, read more about this thing that I was talking about, because this is the very first mistake that I mentioned in that guide. So yeah, if you guys are interested, I will, you can find it. It is not there yet, but I will put it maybe after, maybe in 3 or 4 hours after this live end. Okay, so yeah, you can find it when you go to my profile, when you go to the about section here and scroll down at the bottom here, you will find this guide that I'm talking about. I'm hoping that I would put it, at least by the end of 3 or 4 hours. And yeah, it is a free guide. Yeah, and it is a free guide that I'm talking about. What Kathleen is mentioning is like another course of mine. And yeah, thank you, Kathleen. I am glad that, that you see the value in that. And I'm really hoping that it would, help you, it would impact you. Okay, so what I was, yes, that was what came up for me from this reading. And let me know, those of you who chose the number. Yeah, let me know, Patrick, if this reading resonated with you, and anyone else also with whom this reading resonated, or if anything else came up for you guys. When it says I agree about multitasking, exactly, I used to think of myself as lacking because I wasn't able to multitask. I thought like, other people are able to do it so easily and I get overwhelmed when I do all of that. And now I know a lot of things about myself that I am a sensitive person. If I'm doing this task, I am getting a lot more, stimulated compared to anyone else. And that is why my system is already overwhelmed and I cannot take any other task. So because it has a limited capacity as well. And and also multitasking is not as efficient as we think, as the society has made us think about it, because it leads to a lot of other things as well. If we are practicing that muscle of distraction, it is, strengthening that even more. It is leading to more mistakes, less efficacy, and a lot of other things. So yeah, maybe and if you do multitask, if you have to multitask, maybe you can try to choose one thing that you can do with complete focus rather than, doing 10 different things at once. So you can start there. It doesn't have to be that you abandon, all the multitasking at once. Especially if you have a lot of responsibilities, but maybe strengthening that muscle of doing one thing at a time as well. Kathleen says, haha, I start two guides at once. Yeah, so maybe you can, start with the free one first, and then you can move on to anything else that you feel called to do. That way, again, doing one thing at once. Margaret says it does resonate. Trying to make health decisions. My nervous system is suffering. Oh, Margaret, I'm sending you a lot of healing, and I hope that you get to have those tools, get to have those resources through which you can learn how to, you know, be there for your nervous system, be there for your body, and yeah, and amidst all these learning, also have the time to just be, or maybe acceptance of whatever is here right now as you try to bring in more of what you need. So yeah, sending love. Okay, guys. Yeah, so we have done our usual three readings. I'm wondering, should we wrap this live? Should we do one more? Okay. Patrick says, I have been practicing doing one thing at a time and not overstimulating or overwhelming myself. This confirms that I'm on the right path and that I can gain clarity about this path that I'm on. Yeah, and yeah, especially about the last line because the author, because Ibrahim, he said that, yeah, that if we stay just long enough with one thing, then we can, move forward very far. So yeah, that is definitely a confirmation, Patrick, and I'm so happy that you're doing that. Okay. Um, Patrick says one more reading. I feel something is to come for someone here in this live. Okay, Patrick, we will do one more. I am going to respect your intuition. Eve says, at work, I must multitask. I use staying with the one thing I'm doing with focus at a time. Yet it is a fast paced job. This is a helpful reminder. Yeah, Eve, and yeah, and it is interesting. You just mentioned to us that, you are getting ready for work and you're listening to this. And the universe is like, okay, just focus on one thing at a time, Eve. And I get it, with this thing also, it was like a ripple from what you do at your job. So it is a fast-paced job. You have to multitask, and that also is rippling out in your life in like in this form, listening to this while you're getting ready. And I love having you here. I'm just, sharing that it might be dripping into your life in very subtle forms that you don't even realize, because this muscle, when you do multitask every time at your job, you are just strengthening this muscle of multitasking, of, being distracted of doing a lot of different things at once. And it might have become your go to when you are doing other things as well, which do not necessarily require multitasking. I'm not sure if it is, resonating or not, but this is what came up, so I wanted to say it. And Eve says, it's so helpful to be here to ground before I get there. I'm so grateful that, the space provides you that, sense of grounding, Eve. I'm so happy to have you here, really. Okay. Yeah, Eve says, yeah, I'm not a fast-paced person. Mm. Oh, we got you. We got you. Uh, and it might be especially difficult for you then, at your job when you have to do a lot of things at a fast pace. So you deserve and you need that, time when you do one thing or you do nothing at all, based on whatever is possible for you. So yeah, thank you for sharing everything, Eve. Okay. Jamal says, amazing. I will check out that guide. Both passages resonate with me. I have so many ideas and things I would like to do. It can be daunting sometimes. Hustle culture has conditioned this multitasking formula into me, into all of us. But now I'm trying a different method where I let my intuition guide on any particular day. It's been helping me get things done on my time without the familiar pressure of productivity. However, the concept of working on one thing for a month or more is interesting and something I will for sure consider. It's so nice to see you, making this whole progress and this journey and using intuition as your guide, because the thing with intuition is that the more we use it, the more our connection with it strengthens. And I'm so happy that you're letting it guide you so that, you know, your logical as well as your intuitive guidance both are there for you, especially when you would need it most, when you would need to make a decision. It would become more easy to, make that decision that should I do this, should I do that, should I do, nothing at all. So I am glad that you're doing that, Jamal, and because I've noticed this in myself. I started doing these lives in 2025, and at that time I didn't thought of myself as an intuitive person so much. But over time, my intuition or that connection, it was always there, but that connection with it has strengthened a lot. And now I trust it. I totally trust it actually. So yes, I'm happy that you're using it to guide you and that you're open to experiment this one thing, doing one thing for a month or doing one thing for a specific time. And I hope that it delivers you um that stability or whatever you need with your projects. Thank you for sharing, Jamal. Thank you. Nakisha says, when you talk about one thing at a time, that means one part of each project at a time, right? I think whatever is coming up for you, Nakisha, you know, um, it's more of what I'm talking about for me is this practice of doing one thing at a time. So if I am, for example, watching TV, then I'm watching that instead of also using my phone at the same time. If I am, walking or doing something, then I'm not playing a podcast or something else on the side that is going to distract me from the task. Sometimes music helps instead of just transitioning to pure silence. Sometimes music helps, not music with words, but like the instrumental kind. And then you can even let that go and let the silence in the background instead of filling it with anything else. Because the thing is that we keep on filling our mind with this thing and this thing and this thing and this thing. And we never create space, for anything to arise, whether it is from inside or whether it is from, the universe. And, we did like a set of 2 minutes here in silence, and when we do that, we sometimes realize, okay, I am creative. There is all of these things that came up for me, and not just worries, not just planning, but some ideas sometimes drop. So, mm, yeah, so I was saying that whatever it means for you, for me, it meant using this as a practice of focusing on only one thing that I'm doing with your project. As Jamal shared, for him the meaning that came up was to do one thing for a month, because he has all these different projects. So whatever is coming up for you from this message, how it lands for you is the right message. Nakisha says, I'm currently listening to this while working on writing out a grant and fleshing out my business plans as the ideas form. Yeah, so like Eve, you're listening to this and you're doing something else. And I know that especially these lives are like 1.5 hour long, and we don't have that hour sometimes to sit alone and, just listen to it and not do anything else. And it's okay, do not try to do everything. Okay, do not try to completely flip your life where you are doing just one thing at a time. And I'm not just saying that because you listen to this live. I'm saying that because it won't work. It would be too uncomfortable for your system. Instead, uh, do what I suggested with those, for those who have a lot of responsibility, who have to multitask, whose job is to multitask, is to just do one thing. Decide that I'm going to do this one thing with complete focus, without any distraction, and start there. So yeah, that's what came up. And all the best for your business plans, Nakisha. uh okay. Mhm. Patrick says, Eve, remember that even though you have a fast-paced job and have to multitask, you can make the choice on your own time to just stay focused on the main task that you want to accomplish, whether it be in the physical sense or within yourself, when it comes to the betterment of yourself. Thank you, Patrick, for sharing these thoughts. And yeah, it aligned with what came up for me, for you, Eve, is that, that that habit of doing a lot of things, and doing it at a fast pace might be leaking into your life outside of work. So taking out time um to choose to cultivate focused attention, to choose to even do nothing, because sometimes you need that, because you mentioned that you're not a fast paced person, so your system is so overwhelmed at your job. So maybe you just need to do nothing for like 5 minutes a day. So whatever comes up for you, based on that. Eve says, thank you, Patrick. Yes, I am so pleased with my abilities to do this job, because I have not thought of myself to be this person in this type of job. Ah. Oh, I'm so happy to see you proud of yourself, that, oh, it is reminding me of this quote that is from Christopher Robin, like the movie from Christopher Robin and the Pooh, that you are stronger than you think, something like that. You're braver. Oh, what was it? Yeah. Okay, yeah, but basically, like, you are more than what you can imagine. And we sometimes fix our identity into this mold, and it is like eye opening for us to see ourselves do this thing that we thought we would never be able to do, And not just if every one of us has done these kind of things, if we look back at our life, we would find moments where we would be proud of doing the things that we never thought that we could do, being the person that we never thought that we could be. And wow, and we did it and we became that person. And just because you have the capability to do it doesn't mean that you have to do it, or that you now have become fixed into that identity. You can grow more, you can be different, you can do other things. You can take time of that as well. Okay. um and thank you guys for sharing that exact quote. Donna, thank you. Stronger than you think, braver than you know. Yeah. Okay, let's see. Eve says, I have been out of work for 1 year, one medical leave. So this is such a blessing. I'm not overwhelmed. Oh, I am I'm glad that you got a break. And I hope that, that your body recovers and it gets all the rest that it needs. Okay, Carla says, yeah, Aura. Hello, Anisha. Hope you have been well. Hello, Carla. Welcome, welcome. And is this another language, Carla? Um, or is this your how we pronounce your name? Whatever you wrote before hello. Yeah, feel free to share that. And yeah, I am mostly well, physically coming down with the cold. Yeah. Okay. And hope you're well too as well. Patrick says, I love that movie and the books. Winnie the Pooh and Christopher Robin were my favorite. Yeah, I love that movie as well. uh, I think, yeah, Pooh is Pooh and all of the other stuff, like the cartoon version as well as the movie version, is my favorite as well. A lot of things from that movie really clicked with me. Okay, okay. So, yeah, I thought so. Yeah, so it is a greeting, Kia ora. Beautiful. And it is and it means hello in T Rio Mari Maori. Wow, okay. Got to learn something new. Oh, okay. So now, as Patrick requested, let's do our last reading for today, and then we will wrap this live. Oh, I'm glad. I'm glad that my pronunciation was right. Thank you, Carla. And I thought I was bad with languages. So it is nice to see that you know, I can do more than I can think. You get the point, right? The stronger than you think one. Okay, okay. Thank you, Carla. So, our mind make us believe so many things about us. It limits us in so many different ways we never realize. Maybe this is a message for anyone who came up in this space, is to not believe everything that you think. Not believe everything that you think. Okay. So again, hold in your awareness anything specific that you need guidance on, or a general wish to receive the message for your highest good. Okay. Another book which says Mindfulness on the Go. Simple meditation practices you can do anywhere. And this book has been written by Jan Chosen Bays. And I'm glad this book came up because I'm hoping it would give us a practice or something. to actually cultivate that focus, that we talked about a lot for the past few minutes. So give me a second to choose some numbers for us and then we will, play a game. Hmm. Okay. Yeah, so my dear ones, um, I invite you guys to pick a number between 24 to 90 and take your time. Again, I will pick a number randomly based on my intuition. Okay, let's see. Rachel says evening from Perth. Hello, Rachel. Welcome back again. You're just in time for our last reading today. Okay. Nakisha says, I think Spirit is telling me I need to pause. Then listen carefully. um, mhm. Yeah, I guess that is a message for a lot of us. And we can always use that. Okay, interesting. Thank you, Carla, Nakisha, Margaret, and Carla also felt called to that number. Almost. Okay, interesting. Thank you, Rachel. Thank you, Patrick. Anyone else who would like to pick a number? Okay, then in that case, let me see this and pick a number that I'm feeling called to. Okay, so the number that I'm feeling called to is 54, and the number has been chosen by Rachel for all of us. You joined just in time, Rachel, seems like. Okay, let us go with page number 54. Okay. Yeah, this the heading for this page reminds me like of a proposal. So the heading is Say Yes. Okay, so the practice. And if any one of you was wondering on the answer for yes or no, you needed clarity, then the answer is yes. Carla says, lol, great. Okay, again, okay, no, but think if you're really thinking about a marriage proposal thing, I was just kidding about the marriage thing. Carla says, I was definitely seeking clarity. Ooh, wonderful, Carla. Okay, I am so happy for you, Carla, that you received the clarity that you were looking for. And for those who were not seeking a clarity, here is a practice. Hmm. So, the exercise is in this practice, we say yes to everyone and everything that happens. When you notice the impulse to disagree, consider whether it is really necessary. Can you just nod or even be silent but pleasant? Whenever it is not dangerous to you or others, ag- agree with others and with what is happening in your life. So, the discoveries that people made when they practiced it was this task helps us to see how often we take a stance that is negative or oppositional. If we are able to watch our mind when someone is talking to us, particularly if they're asking us to do something, we can see our thoughts forming defenses and counter arguments. Can we resist the desire to disagree? To disagree verbally when the issue is not critical? Can we watch our mental and physical attitude to things that arise in a typical day? Is our automatic thought, oh no? Our habitual oppositional stance can take form of thoughts. I don't agree with what he's saying. Or body language like tensing muscles, crossing your arms, or speech like that's a stupid idea, or actions like shaking the head, rolling the eyes, ignoring someone who is talking. So, people in certain professions report that they have difficulty with this task. Lawyers, for example, are trained to detect flaws in a contract or faults in what a witness or another lawyer is saying. Academics are trained to criticize one another's theory and research. Success at work may depend on attack mind. But when you spend an entire day cultivating this attitude, it can be difficult to turn it off when you arrive home. While doing this task, one person noticed that that an external yes might not match the real attitude of no inside, and that the task helped him detect a hidden, constricted state of mind. Another man found that he usually responds to requests by weighing other considerations, namely, all the other things he has to do. He found it freeing to just say yes and thus let go of all the internal effort involved in making a decision. It felt generous. Another person said that saying yes created the experience of ease, of going with the flow, of people who came into her office rather than resisting it. This task may be modified according to circumstances. You can hold an inward yes to your child's wish to jump on furniture, but redirect their energy to the playground instead. Okay, so it reminded me of the movies. I think Yesterday, and there was another movie in which I guess a very famous actor said yes to everything, and his life became an adventure. Yeah, yeah, Jim Carrey, exactly. I was not sure. So I didn't name him, but yeah, it just like opened different opportunities, different experiences, and then there was this movie yesterday which I watched with my family, which was like the parents saying yes to everything that their child says for one day, and that also included a lot of fun. I know that it might not seem like very realistic, but it was nice to get a glimpse of having like a yes attitude that it can open up open us up to different experiences instead of our stance always being of that of a armor, of that of, saying no. And what you can apply from this in your life is that saying yes to whatever is happening right now. So it doesn't mean that you like what is happening. It doesn't mean that, that you want more of that. It simply means yes. Saying yes means acknowledging what is happening. So going towards acceptance, using yes as a way to accept. So there is a practice by Tara Brach, who is also a teacher here on Insight Timer, and you might have heard of her, of course. So yeah, so she has this practice of saying yes to all our internal experiences. Meaning when an emotion shows up in your body, for example, sadness or anxiety, you say yes to it. Like yes, you become aware of it and you say yes. Instead of resisting it, instead of wanting to get away, you say yes to acknowledge, to accept, to allow, and yeah, and like to do all of those other things because it opens up a lot of energy. Just like what was mentioned in an example, what happened in real life, that it freed a lot of energy that went into, thinking about all the circumstances, all the scenarios, and everything before saying yes, before saying no. It frees up a lot of energy internally when we don't resist, when we say yes to what is already here. Because if we say no, it is not going anywhere, it might hide in your body, but it is still here. So saying yes, that you accept it, that you see it, that it can be here, that it belongs within your body, within your system, and then working with that, because when you say yes, automatically a lot of resistance drops in. You have a lot of energy within yourself to, to put it into doing the wise thing in terms of what will help meet your need at this moment, what is leading to that emotion coming up. And then you can do the thing that would help, bring some ease, bring some, whatever it is that you need in that moment. So that energy, that freed up energy can be redirected towards that. So that can be a thing that you can actually practically practice. And if you think that saying yes would not, work in real life, then you can start with saying yes to your inner experience. Um, and if you need guidance on that, I do have a resource around it. Yeah, okay. So, this particular course that I'm sharing with you, which is the art of acceptance, in this, the final lesson, I have a guided practice which is related to this. So, I'm hoping that it might help you actually practice it and have the guidance alongside. Or you can go through this whole course if you really want to cultivate more acceptance of your life exactly as it is. Um, okay. Carla says, wow, I have been noticing this so much lately. Okay, Carla, then since the universe is communicating to you in all these different ways, asking yourself that what would be different if I listened to these messages that are coming up for me? What would I do? What, what would change in your life if you listen to it? And what can you do to apply that messages? Okay, Rachel says thank you. You're welcome, Rachel. uh, okay. So I'm hoping that Carla says the resistance, the no, the defiance, it it's really sparking thoughts around communication in particular. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, thank you for sharing that, Carla, because these messages can spark a lot of different things for everyone who is listening. We listen to the same messages. I read that same passage, but something come for me and something different might come for you. And whatever is coming for you, know that that is the thing that wanted to show up. and you just opened yourself up to it and it arrived within you. So trust that, trust whatever, meaning this thing is making for you. You're welcome, Carla. You're welcome. Okay, my dear ones, I guess this is time to end this live. And I have so enjoyed you guys, being here in this space, our discussion, and every beautiful message that arrived in the space. So thank you so much for joining me. And if you like this space, you guys can come back day after tomorrow around the same time, and we will do, another Wheel of Wisdom thing, as well as maybe we will do 5 minutes sit in, silence and stillness. Um, yeah. And about the guide that I shared, I'm really hoping to, make it available in the next like 4 or 5 hours, I can say, because yeah, I'm not well, so I cannot promise the exact time. But yeah, I will make it available in like 4 or 5 hours, and you will find it when you go to my profile to the about section and you scroll down here. That guide will appear. Um, yeah, so you can check in at that time. And I hope that that guide would really help you to have a different year this time, and a one that is more aligned and that is more fulfilling and that is more true to who you are. So, uh, um, Carla says, have a beautiful day. You too, Carla. Have a beautiful day. And Margaret says, thank you. Lots of decisions to be made, but I was born in 54. Okay, interesting. Then maybe the main decision that is coming to your head, maybe the answer to it is yes, because we chose the number 54. But yeah, bring logic and intuition and work with both of them on your decisions. I wish you all the best for your decisions, Margaret. So, thank you guys for being here. I bow down to the divine being within you all. May you all be safe, healthy, happy, and loved. May each one of you be free from suffering. Thank you. Bye, Donna. Okay, bye. Thank you, Jamal, for this kind donation.